saddens me to say that on our platform, our beloved Dr. Brown, who is usually one of our hosts, has passed away on February 27th. It saddens our hearts. It saddens me to say. It makes us, I was in shock. I am still in sorrow. I am pained. I can't find all the words to describe the emotion. But one thing I do know about Dr. Brown, because I've known her for almost 20 years, is that she was a woman of possibility. She lived her possibility. She transferred her possibility to others. She was, for me, a mentor, a counselor, a friend. She was infectious with possibility. I see that our co-host Genevieve Queenum has joined us. Welcome, Genevieve. We're very happy to have you as usual. I'm glad you're here with me during this time because it's definitely a difficult one, as you know. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, as you just said, Dr. Brown will be really missed. And we cannot talk about possibility as our superpower today without talking about her.
Mhm.
She has been for me really an inspiration on how to use my possibility as a superpower. Truly. Yeah.
Certainly. And so from that perspective, I just want to remind everyone who will be watching either live or in the replay that the eSpeaks platform was born because of possibility thinking.
Yeah.
I in 2016, I tried to give a speech to a crowd of entrepreneurs, and I blocked out from anxiety in front of the audience. And I decided that there's no way that not being able to speak in front of in public is going to hijack my possibility. There's just no way. So I decided to go ahead and that's how Eve Speaks platform was born, to give me an opportunity to practice speaking to overcome my Goliath, which was anxiety in speaking. I struggle with anxiety anyway, but I didn't know that it was so potent in the area of speaking until I attempted to do it. Lord. So the eSpeaks platform here, we believe in healing, aspiring, and growing. And Genevieve is very much that kind of woman as well. She's a woman of possibility. She left her country, Senegal, and came to a brand new environment, remaking herself. Our story is definitely inspirational. I'm gonna let her tell a little bit about it, her story, so that she can tell you from her heart how she has and is honing the gift of possibility thinking. Before she gets into that, though, I just want to hear a little memory, reminder of Dr. Brown's spirit. So, Jay, remind the audience of the spirit of Dr. Brown at this point.
No matter how it comes, and no matter who says what, you have one big question to answer. And it's the same question that Moses gave to his people. Whose report are you going to believe?
Oh, whose report are you going to believe? I like that.
God's.
Now, neither of us knew back that when she was giving this, that today we'd be playing this in memory of her. But this honors her memory because she's reminding us to remember to believe the report that matters. What does it mean to you, Genevieve, this little clip here that she left behind? One of many. We can't hear you. You're muted.
Yeah, I think that that's very deep. I think that it's the reminder that every woman has to have just in front of our mirror in the morning. This question is really the reminder, and truly it's a game changer if we start our days with this question in mind, the good question. I think that we will be able to give the right response to any situation.
Absolutely. And it's so important that, that this clip resonates with us so much. That's why we are like highlighting it, because belief is a big part of taking your possibility off the shelf. Yeah. It's a big part of honing your superpower, which is your possibility. As women, this is Women's History Month. So it's especially important that we are celebrating and highlighting our possibility. So happy Women's History Month to you. Dr. Brown is like I said before, she epitomizes what it means to believe in her possibility. She was in combat in the Vietnam War.
Wow.
She lost her mom at 2 years old. She was adopted. Wow. She raised two sons on her own. She lost her husband. And she went on to overcome racism, massive racism, to the tune of they did not want her to be in Columbia University. But she persisted and claimed her possibility. Yeah. And became a doctor and practiced for over 30 years, helping people to believe in themselves, overcome all kinds of psychological trauma and disorder. For me, she helped me with my anxiety disorder, to be able to run a business and to have children and be married. I mean, she really made an impact with her life. So I want you to tell the audience, Genevieve, how your encounter with Dr. Brown has helped you and what her legacy means to you.
Yeah, definitely. My encounter with Dr. Brown really has impacted me in the way that I saw a woman who never, let, life circumstances or age or maybe culture and even experience, her big experience, be a barrier to discover what even someone younger than her, from another culture, could bring to her. So she was a really open-minded person, and she was a caring person, and she gave me, if I can say, the courage, and she empowered me to believe in what I was doing, because I was in a very new field. I totally make a 360 degree change in my career, and I was in my beginning, and I was in a new context. But she gave me, this, I can say, this courage to believe in what I was doing, showing me the purpose of what I was doing, and helped me feel safe in her presence, because I was impressed. Like, wow, she's a doctor and she's a counselor, she's a therapist, and I am a first responder as a mental health coach. But she just shows me that everyone has something to bring to the table, and this is how we can help one another and be better helper for others. So this really empowers me. This is what impacts me with her. And really, I believe that Dr. Brown has incarnate the possibility thinking in her life, because she has transformed, what was in the past maybe a trauma in her own life, in a possibility to help others get out of trauma. And you
Right.
really need to make a leap in your mindset to be able to do that.
Mm.
You know, I used to say that I think that the world is made by two category of people. One category are people who have suffered and encountered so bad things in their life, and when the times comes, they're like, nobody has to make it easy because it has not been easy for me. They has to know the pain. They has to go this way. And
Mm-hmm.
there's the other category of people who said, it has been very hard for me. I know what it costs to take this way. I will take my experience and help other people overcome theirs and maybe avoid it.
Mm.
So I think that those are the world changer. And to my opinion, she was a world changer.
Definitely a world changer. I like that. She was a world changer. We're just gonna think about what it means now. We're gonna shift a little gear a little bit and think about God's perspective on women, because we are talking about taking the possibility off the shelf during Women's History Month.
Mm,
And God's perspective is the report that we need to believe, right? Because that's what matters. And that's what she was trying to tell us.
No matter
Moses
how it
said to the
comes,
people,
and
go
no
ahead, play
matter
it.
who says what,
Uh-huh.
you have one big question to answer. And it's the same question that Moses gave to his people. Whose report are you going to believe?
I just love that. Whose report are you going
yeah.
to believe? I like that.
God's.
Shanella, Patricia, whose report? Thank you for joining. Whose report are you going to believe this
Yeah.
Women's History Month about your
Mm,
possibility? And so that question, it should linger in our heart and our minds for as long as we live, regardless of what we're doing, whether we're parenting, we are in
mm,
a marriage or a relationship, or we are in our business, whatever it is, we have to ask ourselves, whose report are we going to believe? I think that's the question
yeah.
God is asking us. Are you
Mm,
going to believe me, your maker, your creator?
mm,
And the scripture is perfect, but it says, for the word of God is living and active. Love the scripture,
mhm,
Genevieve.
yeah.
Sharper than any double-edged sword.
Yep.
And that is the report that
Mm,
should really penetrate our hearts, the word of God.
yeah. I like the word, but I like also, the lady just under the sword. You see?
Oh, I didn't notice that. You see how you can look at things and
Yeah.
not see things, not see
With
the
it with
possibilities? See the woman there with the
yeah.
sword. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, with a cute dress, and the sword just at the top of her hair. That shows that women, we can be cute, we can look cute, but be like a sharpened sword.
Our femininity is also a superpower, in other
Oh
words.
yeah, yeah,
It's Women's
yeah,
History Month. We can have our nails done and be feminine. We don't have to be masculine. We can operate in our feminine energy
yeah.
and live out our possibility and bask in it. And it can be our own weapon in a
Mm,
good way. We are a
exactly.
double-edged sword being women because God endowed us with our femininity.
Mm.
Again, the world tells us you need to be, you need to be go, go, go and push, push, push and be aggressive, boss chick and all this stuff. But there's no need to be if you
Yeah.
believe the right report, right?
Mm, mm.
Whose report will you believe?
Yes,
My
that's it.
husband, he's attracted to very feminine women. I guess I'm quite feminine.
Yeah, sure.
And anything that reminds him of a man, he's like totally like not attracted at all.
I think that
And
he's right.
so only most recently did I realize how important this was to him. I didn't realize it. The fact that being feminine is a superpower, and I didn't even know. I didn't even think about it like that. I was just being myself. He's like, I just love it when you do that. I love it when you do that. Because to him, being feminine has powers that we haven't tapped into. We don't realize what it can do to a man.
Yeah, you're right.
A whole other
You're right.
conversation, girl.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But God's perspective is that we need to believe the right report. This scripture in Numbers 27, verse 11, 1 to 11, is the first covenant. You want to tell us that story, Genevieve? Tell us about that story.
You mean the daughters of I have to,
You have to go
yeah.
there. Rahab.
Yeah, no, just I need to read it to be able to read it correctly because I don't want to mess the name. The daughters of Zelophehad, you
Uh-huh.
mean in Numbers? Yeah, in the Israelite traditions, women shouldn't inherit lands.
Mm.
Or they have the insurance, and still now it's like this in some Africa country, for example, that I know. And my own sisters only have daughters. And when her husband died, it was her husband had one son, but when her husband died, it was a big fight for my nieces to ask for the inheritance of their father's, you know, uh, and because there was like, you women, you don't have any rights on your father's inheritance. So
Wow.
it's, yeah, it's still like this, in some countries that I know. I don't know if it is like this in some European or American culture, but I know that in some African countries, it's still like this. And it was like this in the ancient Israelite. So this man, Zelophehad, died and he only have daughters. And while they was about to enter the promised land, so they just make, the dispatching and give all the tribes their lands that they should occupy when they will be in the promised land. And they just skip Zelophehad because he didn't have voice.
Mm.
So when you read the story, you have to try to picture it to yourself. And you see these ladies, maybe there was like, what will we do? And then they just dive in their possibility thinking and said, we're going to go and find the man of God and plead our cause.
Mm.
And this is what they did. And Moses was in front of a new case. And he was like, okay, let me go and ask it to God. But what I like in this passage is the answer God gave to Moses. He said, these women are right.
Wow.
You will give them a part of the land as the inheritance of their father among their father's brother.
So
The
God
same
stood up for these women.
for these women.
But isn't he the great defender, though? He is the great
I'm
defender.
telling
He's
you,
shown that over and over throughout the scriptures.
yeah, I'm telling you. And the other nice things in this story is that God uh, dictate to Moses a new rule,
You what?
a new rule.
A new rule. Okay.
Yeah, and he said, yeah, it was not a new rule. Let's say he added
Mm-hmm.
another a comment. He said, from today, this is what you will do when someone dies without having a son. So
Mm-hmm.
because those moments stood up for their own life, because they dive in their possibility thinking, they were able to find a solution for their own life, but they also was able to make a path, a new path for the
Change the course
future
of history so
generation.
that women had
Yeah,
rights to land.
exactly. Women's
Possibility thinking.
and others. So I invite you to read this passage, and you will really be blessed in what is possibility thinking for women.
Beautiful. I
Yeah,
love that. So we see from that story that God's perspective on women is that we are full of possibility. He'll
exactly.
defend women, and he gave them the opportunity to carve out a path for themselves. Uh,
Exactly.
the question I want to ask you, Genevieve, is in your life right now, how do you feel like you're embodying possibility? I know some of your story, but tell the people. I can tell the people, but you tell the people. Let me hear you tell the story.
Yeah, I'm embracing my possibility because I I refuse the statu quo.
You
I
refuse the
ref
status quo.
I refuse the status quo because uh I immigrated in US 5 years ago, and it was not just immigration; it was also uh, a change, a big change in my career, my professional life. And coming in this country was intimidating in many ways. Not only because I used to come here, in vacation, but come and lives here, and now, I had to face this new life and this new career in front of me, new studies. I came from a French country, so there was a lot of things I had to face: language, culture, integration, and all this stuff, and that was not easy. But I decided not to be determined by my circumstances, and I decide to to tap in my possibility and to reinvent myself.
And you are
And
indeed reinventing yourself.
yes, and this
Indeed.
is I can't I can say to shorten the story that this is how I met you actually, because speaking English was a challenge for me. Maybe I was quite good, but I think that even the team can remember that I was thinking in French,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, not easy for me to be fluent. And I am a speaker in French. I am a coach and a trainer, so I really wanted to be that woman here also, because God has bring me here, so He had a purpose for me. And then,
Absolutely.
yeah, I decided uh, to take my possibility in hands. And one of the first thing was, I am a communicator. I have to master English to communicate with people. I have a message inside of me that is burning, and I want to share it. How can I do it? I have to connect with English speaking people and
Uh-huh.
uh, believe in myself and trust in the process and improve my speaking. So, how do you find it now, Angela?
You've definitely made some major, major, major improvements that you're here speaking on
You
the
see
eSpeech
that?
platform because
Yeah,
you have a message in your belly that was burning. You got to have a burning in your belly that you want to just get out. That you got to be so pregnant with possibility that you feel like you just have to give birth to it.
I like this expression, to be the pregnant of possibility, and we can
Pregnant
even
with
say it,
possibility. You see, it's spiritual. It's about giving
possibilities.
birth to
Yeah,
many babies. We have babies all up in us that we have to push out. And we have to make
exactly,
sure that we nurture and cultivate, make sure that, the pregnancy is a healthy pregnancy. So when we give the birth, we are serving the
E-
people around us. Yes, yes.
exactly, exactly.
Lisa Nichols just came to my mind. She says, yes, yes, for everything that's possible is yes, yes.
Oh
Um,
yes,
Yes, I am a fan of Lisa Nichols. She definitely motivated me and had me believe in the possibility of honing my speaking because that's when I got up and saw her in line and I got up and went to California to meet her. And when I met her, she instilled in me possibility. So definitely she encouraged me in that way. And we're
yeah.
going to look at another woman, Ruth. Is another woman in the Bible
Mm-hmm.
that
Yes.
exhibited and is a great example of possibility thinking.
Yeah, we have Ruth, we have Rahab, and the Samaritan woman. They all, I think, yeah, display possibility in there. But maybe you should explain, what is really possibility thinking, so that people may understand.
Possibility thinking. Yeah, we will get
Yeah.
there. Possibility thinking. Possibility thinking is the idea that you just believe and have the faith that first of all, the question should be, who do you know? Who do you know that is negative, an impossibility thinker who is successful and happy and joyful? Do you know anybody like that? Anybody could raise your hand? Janella, Patricia, do you know anybody who's, how about you, Janine? Do you know anybody?
Oh no,
There's nobody
no,
like that.
no.
So, in order to be a possibility thinker, you have to be thinking everything is possible. It's the way you think, it's a mindset. It's the belief that whatever you see, you can succeed in it. It draws people to you. This is how you're going to get your possibility off the shelf. When you start to believe, it energizes you, and so it draws people to you, because all of us like to be around people who are positive and full of energy. So when you believe that something is possible, it automatically, you become a magnet. Woo! You just pull big people to you, not small people. You know, they're small people. That everything is either like a knot of problems and worries and concerns and issues. But when you're a possibility thinker, because you think it can be done, I can do it. I was born for this.
Yes.
God created me, therefore I can. You increase your possibilities just by this energy alone.
You
to have a possibility thinking, and you think like this, you even increase your possibility even more. Things happen, your dreams materialize because you start to dream big.
Yes,
because again, it just kind of, it's like an upward spiral. You rise above the average. You don't think mediocrity is just not something that it's just not something you can even stand or stomach, because you believe. Again, it's that belief. Whose report will you believe? It keeps you from giving up.
Exactly.
Possibility thinking keeps you from giving up. A lot of people we have met, I've met them, oh, it can't be done. I've tried so many times. Woe is me. God only knows. Not even God knows in some of their people's mind. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen, not even Jesus. I mean, you got people like with this kind of attitude. But when you have possibility thinking, you're thinking, there is a way, and I'm going to find the way. You find a way to know and to learn. And the more you know what to do, the more you do what you know. See how it feeds into each other? More possibility. This is how you're going to take it off the shelf. And a lot of us have this inside of us, but we don't see enough people around us who are exhibiting and manifesting possibility. So it's hard to believe that we can do it. But like I said, that's my own quote that I created. He put it up on the screen. The more you know what you can do, the more you can do what you know. And that's what you're doing, Genevieve. You've decided that you can learn to speak English. And the more you're practicing English, the more you're doing it. And you become a certified coach here in the United States, and you're having clients, and you're continuing to develop yourself because you believe it's possible. Even though you came from a country of French speaking, you have an accent that's noticeable, but you're making your impact because you believe it's possible.
I don't know why when you were talking, I was seeing, the miraculous fishing. The miraculous fish with Jesus, when there was no more possibility for Peter, and Jesus say, try once more and go deeper. And in the death, this is where he found the big fish, just like you said, not the small one, the big one that that come and filled the net.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he could have been discouraged because he'd been fishing all night, right?
Exactly.
And Jesus came by and he decided, just as put your net, cast your net on the other side. And he was like, okay, God, but I've been doing this all night, but because you say it, I'm going to do it.
Exactly.
But he attracted the energy that he had to believe what Jesus was telling him to do. He had to believe it, because if he didn't believe it, he would never have experienced that. He would have gone home with his empty net. He would have stayed on the shelf. So that's the whole idea of cultivating. Possibility thinking is something that has to be nurtured. It has to be cultivated. It's not, you have to schedule it even in your calendar. I'm going to go to the part and sit down and think about what's possible. Possibility thinking is a part of the thinking framework. And the framework says, let me remind everybody, the framework says you have to find a place to think your thoughts, a place to shape your thoughts, to stretch your thoughts, to land your thoughts, and fly your thoughts. Within that framework are the thinking skills, and possibility thinking is one of those skills.
So we can say that possibility thinking is in the framework where you stretch your thoughts.
You're stretching your thoughts.
Exactly. So I think that it's really close to what we could call faith.
It is faith.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly, because the more you keep believing in yourself, in God, in what He has done, in what He has put inside of you, you believe in the fact that you can do it. And sometimes I think that we don't fail because we are, um, we don't have possibility. Sometimes I think that when we fail, God allows it to hone our skills, and to train, as the word said, to train our hands, and our hands to the battle. So I think that if we rely on these, if I can call it God's method, we will embrace the possibility thinking.
And why wouldn't we embrace it? If you think about it, if God is telling us that we are capable, we are made in His image, and not only has God told us that in the first covenant, in the New Testament, He gives us actual examples. And that's what we were looking at. We were going to talk about before, the other women, the Samaritan woman, an example of, oh, somebody wants to get in. Helena is trying to log in. Jay, would you send Miss Helena, or Chanela, would you please send Miss Helena the link? She can't get in. I'm not sure. The link is in the group. But the point is, though, is that I'm distracted. Is that in the New Testament, Jesus demonstrates so clearly that He believed in women, He believed in our possibility, our promise, and our potential. And the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman, resonates with me especially because she came to the well during the day when she thought nobody was going to be there to pull water. She knew her reputation was horrendous. But when she met Jesus, He impacted her in such a way that she was willing to go tell the whole surrounding town, come see a man.
Exactly. Yeah.
Possibility. And she impacted that entire
whole
society because he believed so much in her possibility. So who are we not to believe in our possibility?
I love the word that this woman said, in the scriptures. She said, I met someone who told me everything's online.
Everything.
So there was, that there is a bind, or if I can say it's about it, there's a blind spot caused by ignorance of who we are. And I think that because maybe some people may say, okay, but how can we embrace it? For example, when we have, I don't know, maybe the audience can tell us what are the situations that they are ever encounter, or what are the state of mind they have ever been in that, let them know that there was no possibility. And maybe we can come to that other example of the other women. Knowing who you are is actually a very good way to unleash your possibilities, and to be able to see them, and to try once more.
Right. So I want to ask the audience, how do you think you can identify a possibility that you may have on the shelf that you need to get off the shelf? Like, can you think? You don't have to answer it right now. You can put it in the chat. You don't have to expose your business here, but you can put it in the chat. And have you ever considered the fact that you may not be utilizing possibility thinking? And would you want to learn how to hone possibility thinking? How important do you think it is for your life right now? In what areas do you think possibility thinking could help you? Again, if we were to go through the benefits of possibility thinking, I'll just rehearse it one more time. Possibility thinking is a part of the thinking framework. A lot of people don't know that there is a way to think. Well, I'm telling you tonight, I'm educating you. There is a way within which to think. There is a framework that has been documented within which to think. And if we're not thinking right, we find our lives off the rail and we wonder how we got there. So the reason why I stress thinking so much on this platform is because a lot of times people end up in places where they just can't, they're wondering, how did I get here? I've met people like that. Even when you're doing the best you can, you wonder, how in the world did I end up in this situation? It's crazy. So that's why the thinking framework is so important. And again, let me just remind you of what possibility thinking will do for you. It increases your possibility, increases what's likely, it increases what you can accomplish, it increases your likelihood of success because you believe. It opens doors. A lot of doors are shut, but when you believe, the possibility opens the doors. It draws big people to you, people with big thinking, big personas. It increases your ability to rise above average, no mediocrity. It gives you energy. We love energetic people. And it prevents you from giving up on your promise. We have a very short time in this world. And if there's any, if I want to remind you, we just lost our dear Dr. Brown. On Tuesday morning, I sent her a text. And Tuesday night, she was no longer on the planet. She used to be on this platform, sharing with us, encouraging us. And in a matter of 1 week, she was gone.
Yeah.
We cannot afford to sleep on our possibility.
Yep. We have to make every day count. Yeah.
Every day counts. Yeah. And it's not about counting the years, it's making those years count. And so I just want to encourage you to indulge in honing this skill. And if you don't know exactly all that it means, you can schedule a personalized consultation with the Eve Speaks coaching team for us to dig deeper into how to get your possibility thinking off the shelf, because it is your superpower. And we serve a big God, and he's saying, whose report are you going to believe? And I'm talking to myself too. There are areas in my life when I'm like, Angela, whose report are you going to believe about this? Your personal ministry? Whose report are you going to believe about growing your business bigger? Whose report are you going to believe about raising 2 teenagers? Sometimes it gets scary. Whose report are you going to believe about growing in your communication with your husband? Whose report? Dr. Brown's death has impacted me so much because I think about all the obstacles that she faced in her life, and she transcended them to become a doctor who allowed the gospel to infiltrate her profession, to impact people with her words.
Yeah.
What a remarkable example. So how do you get your possibility off the shelf? Well, you can start with scheduling your personal consultation, and you can also take our assessment that we offer to help you to know you so you can grow you. We're in March, so we're still in the very beginning of the year. I mean, it's not the very beginning, but it's still pretty early in the year. So you can still decide to get on a growth plan so that you can get to your next best version of you, your altitude. Why don't you talk a little bit about the assessment, Genevieve?
Yeah, the assessment is a method of assessing the behavior to help you discover your personality style. And you will be provided with a 30-page report that will give you the most powerful insight I think that you will ever read about your possibility. It's it will highlight your strengths so that you may understand better yourself and discover your style in communication, in business, and your leader's style. For the story, when I discover my style before I knew how I was wired and why I was behaving in a way, I used to believe the report of others who used to say to me, it's quite hard to work with you. You a complicated person. You are too demanding. And I was like, oh, maybe I have to lower my standard.
Ooh, surely not.
Because, yeah, because I was like, am I the problem? But after this assessment and after being educated on people's behavior and how people are wired, why they are, what motivates people, I discovered that I was not demanding for nothing. I was not complicated. I was just wired because I always aim excellence. And I believe in this statement that say that if there is better, good is not enough.
If there is better, I love that. Yeah. If there's better, good is not enough. Now that's possibility thinking.
Yeah.
I love it.
So yeah, this is what the assessment can help you, for example. I mean, it's very good to discover, your strength, because people are most weakness oriented than strength oriented. The more
most people are weakness oriented than strength oriented. That's so true. We tend to want to work on our weaknesses, but the truth is we should develop our strengths. I love it.
Yeah. It's just like trying to find potatoes in the sea.
Trying to find potatoes in the sea.
If one day you can reach the bottom, maybe you can, put some seed and have some potatoes there one day. But instead of trying on things that is not possible, there is something else that you can try, and know that, okay, I may try fish. So people are all the time trying to fix their weakness, while if they were focused on their strength, they will be more motivated, more empowered. And this is exactly what this assessment will provide you with.
Wow, that reminds me of something that John Maxwell says. He said that a lot of times we're trying to work on our weaknesses. And if I'm like a 2 in writing and I work really hard, I may get to like a 4 or a 5. Nobody stands in line for a 5, a writer who's a 5. Okay. But if I'm already at 8 as a writer and I work on myself, I can get up to a 9. And people stand in line for 9s.
Yeah.
You're valuable. You add value and people will pay for value. But you first have to believe that you can get to the 9 and work on your strengths instead of wasting time. I don't want to say you're wasting time, but yeah, in a way it's wasting time because you could have been putting that time into working on what your strength is. I love that because it's helped me to grow a lot in my business.
Right.
I recognize that I don't like numbers. I can't do the books. I make a lot of mistakes. There's certain things I just can't do. So I focus on selling, bringing business in, and hiring people and developing them. That's my strength.
Exactly.
Instead of me there. Exactly. And I mean, I still try to do invoices, but I'm horrible at it. But I've identified the fact that this is not my strength. And I don't need to, I don't need to feel guilty because I'm not good at it.
Exactly.
My possibility lies in my strengths. Work on your strength and make them even stronger so that people can stand in line for your 9. That's how we add value. When when you focus on possibility thinking, you become more valuable, and you become,
Exactly.
people chase you down.
Mm-hmm.
You have something to offer.
Exactly.
You can't be
Yep.
hungry if you are
Yep.
valuable, because people have
Yep.
what you want. You won't be broke.
Mm.
I,
Exactly.
Chanela or Patricia or Helena, is there anything that you wanted to add to this conversation? I see that you're listening quite intently. Please, we're taking questions and comments and whatever you want to offer. This is an interactive conversation. Something else I want to bring up from myself in terms of how possibility thinking has helped me, besides the fact that I decided to start eSpeaks because I passed out when I tried to give a speech in 2016. I went on to write this book called Peace Beyond the Splinter, Reclaim Your Promise of Peace and Profit from Anxiety's Grip Through Prayer. This means a lot to me because anxiety, I have an anxiety disorder that has plagued me for quite most of my life, to the tune of not being able to function, not able to go to school, having to leave work early many times, dropped out semesters in school when I did start college. It's affected my marriage, it's affected all areas. But because I believe the report that God
Exactly.
says that I was created for a reason and that He can work through me in my weaknesses, His strength is more powerful in my weakness. I
Yeah.
continue to trot on because
Yeah.
possibility thinking makes that much of a difference.
Mm.
And when it's coupled with faith, oh my gosh, you will go for it. It's not that you won't
Yeah.
struggle, right? We struggle,
Yeah.
right, Genevieve? We struggle.
Sure. Sure.
We struggle, trust
That's
me.
a part of the process.
Yes, we struggle.
Yeah.
But we pick each other up and we keep going. And this book chronicles my journey with anxiety, at least a little slice of it. You can pick it up on Amazon. It's called Peace Beyond the Splinter. Reclaim your promise, reclaim your possibility, reclaim your purpose from anxiety's grip. Whatever your struggle is, reclaim it. The link is also in the chat if you want to pick it up. And the link for the disc test is also in the chat for you to, there it is on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2016, I passed out. In 2018, I published the book because I was like, no, I'm not going to be hijacked like that.
Yeah.
But it was a very scary day that day. I remember everything just receding and becoming black. And I was like, oh my gosh. And all of it was just, I couldn't function because I was so scared.
Oh, yeah, you change your story, just like, this the woman Ruth, because she was from a tribe who was banned by God. And
She was,
because
what?
she was from a tribe that was, if I can say, cursed, banned, from the other landed by God, because
Mm-hmm.
they refuses to help Israel. But Ruth was a woman of who had this possibility in her thinking. She said to her mother-in-law, "Your God will be my God. Wherever you
Um,
go, I will go with you." And actually, she changed her story like that.
Ruth.
Because she became an one of her the Christ member family in the
Christ is in her lineage because
exactly
she
Christ
made
is
a
in
decision
she
to
made
go
a
with
decision,
Naomi.
and she changed, she moved from a cursed tribe to the elected.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
see, because she refuses when her mother-in-law told her, okay, now that we have lost everything and everyone, just go back to your God, to your family, and to your culture. And for the
And
for
waste
the
away.
yeah, and for
She's
the
like,
for the little
no.
Yeah, for the little time she was with them, she recognized that, okay, the living God was with these people. I don't want to go back in my culture, in my gods, in my people. I will follow you wherever you will go. I will go. Your God will become my God. Your country will become my country. And this word,
That's her
this,
possibility thinking right there.
yeah,
You see
you
how
see,
possibility thinking makes a difference? She says,
yeah,
don't you tell, she basically tells her, don't tell me to leave. Your God will be my God, and your
exactly.
people, my people. I
And
love it. So
everything
inspirational.
was
And even
changing.
in more recent history, Helen Keller, I mean, the story of Helen Keller, she was what, blind and deaf? And what did she
Mm-mm.
do? Tell me, do you know her story well?
Yeah, she is one of the, I think no, I think that nobody can count exactly how many songs and poems this lady has written, actually.
Wow.
She is the author of so many songs in the church. She is the author of, many quotes, and that
She's
was
the
just
author of
a
many
woman.
songs, many quotes, and she is deaf and
Exactly.
blind.
Yeah,
I can't
because
imagine.
she developed the possibility of living her purpose with some other senses, because just she lost two senses, she developed the possibility of living her purpose. And she said, she had a quote that I really love. She said that there is something worse than being blind, is
Mm-hmm.
having a sight without a vision.
Whoa. Mm.
you know? And this is a quote of Ellen Keller I really love. There's something worse, because having a vision is being able to see more than what your reality is. It's diving basically on your possibility. And she was like, I am blind, but I have a vision. But some people are not blind. They have sight, but they have no vision. And Jesus said that you better be blind.
Because maybe
Jesus
you'll be able to see.
Yeah, Jesus said to the Pharisee, you were blind, and they said, "No, we're not blind." Jesus said, "You better be blind, because you are not blind, but you have no vision, so
Mm.
you cannot recognize the possibility in front of you.
Wow.
You see,
That's powerful.
yeah,
Helen Keller is definitely a woman that she makes
oh
me,
yeah,
I mean, I feel bad because I got all my senses and I have issues.
yeah, no,
All my senses. I mean,
yeah.
wow, that's deep. Um, but how do you stay away from possibility? I don't know all the ways you can stay away from possibility thinking, or you can avoid people who don't embrace possibility thinking. But here's the thing that you have to do in order to cultivate it as well. Stay away from anybody who are quote unquote experts.
Who has a problem for any solution?
Stay away from anybody who has a problem for every solution. That is so funny.
Some people have a solution for every problem, but there is some people who have a problem for every solution.
Stay away from the people who have
Every
problems for the solutions.
Oh yes.
I learned recently that, one example of that is like the chairman of IBM. IBM is like a
Hmm.
major conglomerate.
Yeah.
But in the early 1900s, I don't remember what year it was, but he said that there's only a world market for only 5 computers. And he was an expert. And he said, because he lacked the possibility thinking, he said he believes there's only a market for 5 computers. Can you imagine?
Mm.
Even though he was the expert. Sometimes we discredit what we believe can be done because other great people don't believe it.
Hmm.
Don't make that mistake.
Yep.
Because clearly, I mean, you can't, if somebody doesn't have a computer, you wonder, oh my gosh, how do you live? Right? But yet he was
Hmm.
thinking back then that there's no market for
Yeah.
computers.
Wow.
Stay
This is
away
encouraging.
from the experts and the naysayers. Even if you think it's not a good idea, still pursue it. Okay? You may be wrong, but if you don't look into the possibility, you're going to stay on the
Exactly.
shelf.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I
Wow.
just say this to encourage you to see how important it is to embrace possibility thinking. It's not just a good idea. It's a deliberate discipline that must be cultivated and nurtured and honed, and it will make you a magnet. I'm working on it for myself. I'm a constant work in progress. That's why I tell people to come on board with the eSpeak so we can grow together, because, you know, we never arrive, of course. But if you're not on a plan, you're going to stay on the shelf. So I implore you again to take this test, contact us, and let's get on this journey together. It's 9:58. And so I am going to wrap this up and say thank you again. Jay, do me this honor again and play the clip from Dr. Brown. Jay? Oh, here we go.
No matter how it comes, and no matter who says what, you have one big question to answer. And it's the same question that Moses gave to his people. Whose report are you going to believe?
Oh, whose report are you going to believe? I like that.
God's.
Yes. That is the end of our talk tonight. We encourage you to continue to join us. And thank you, Genevieve, for being here with me to spread this idea that we need to hone and encourage ourselves to engage in possibility thinking. Have a good night and happy Women's History Month. Thank you, Miss Helena, Patricia, Shanella. I encourage you to get on the journey for possibility thinking. Have a good night, guys.